Hello Squeegee Slingers and welcome to another live chat on the Tradman YouTube channel. So I thought today we could take some time to talk about should you and can you work in the rain. So we'll just allow a few people to join, and doing these live chats is actually a lot easier for me as well because it saves time on editing. A lot of the time I was struggling to get videos out every week because of the time you need to be able to edit these videos. It can take up to 6, 7, 8 hours to edit some of these videos. So going live is nice and easy. So today, yes, indeed, we're talking about rain. Now today in Scotland, just looking out my window here, it is chucking it down, cats and dogs. So it's very windy, very wet. And we've got Victor here saying, "What's good, bud?" Everything's good, everything's good. Stephen says, "We had a customer that sent us away today because weather is bad." I know, tell me about it. This is why I wanted to talk to you fine window cleaners about this. Now, we've all probably had the dreaded customer come out and say to us, "I don't want you to clean my windows today. It looks like it's going to rain." I've got down a living, you know. Let's see if I can bring these comments up and pin them. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Perfect. JD, good evening, Peter, he says. Hello, and how you doing? We had a customer, we've read that one. Okay, Dave, bear with me here. I haven't done live for a little while, so I have to get my bearings again, how this works. Dave says, "Sure we can. I wish we filmed the last hotel." Keeps disappearing, this. All live chat visible. There we go. Okay, cool. Dave says, "Sure we can. I wish we filmed last hotel, which we've done in the pouring rain." Yes, well, commercial, you seem to be able to get away with it a little bit more. It tends to be usually residential customers that tend to be the ones that, you know, will give you a bit more hassle. Because at the end of the day, the money is coming out of their pocket specifically, rather than commercial jobs. A lot of the employees sitting in a commercial building couldn't give two hoots if you're washing the windows in the rain or not. They probably don't even notice you were there. So, you know, doing residential seems to be the issue. Now, can you clean windows in the rain? Problems. Aha, there we go. I think we're back. Sorry, my internet's a bit dodgy today. So much for BT's fast fibre. I think I might ask for a refund. Anyway, yes, so rainwater is naturally distilled in the natural water process. So there's not any sediments usually in the water when it rains. All rainwater really does is move around the existing dirt that's already on the glass. Now, the only time really rainwater is going to get really a bit of an issue is if you're in a highly polluted area. That way the rain droplets get contaminated and then can leave water spots. So that's really the only way, you know, maybe a dusty area, something like that, where the rainwater would get contaminated. But rainwater is actually really, really clean. Let's bring up the comments here. Been there, done that. Rain is just an extra rinse. It really depends how heavy it's coming down and the side winds. Yes, indeed. So if the rain's really heavy, there's a bit of a problem with potentially rainwater bouncing off of the windowsills and up onto the glass. So if it's that heavy, then obviously the water gets contaminated when it bounces off of windowsills and things like that and onto the glass, which can leave a bit of spotting. But normally a way you can kind of get around it with your customers is if you say to them, "Well, we offer a rain guarantee." So what's the rain guarantee? Well, as it sounds, if it rains and they're not happy after you've been away and left the job, that you can come back free of charge and fix it. Now, you're probably thinking, "Oh, I don't really want to go back and do another, you know, house for free." I've never had a callback because of rain, and I've worked through some of the stormiest, rainiest weather you could possibly imagine because you know, I like to keep working, and I've never had a complaint. So, I even had one lady who was adamant that when it was raining that she was going to end up phoning me. And funnily enough, the next month I went around to do the job, the windows were spotless. And zip, she had nothing to say. So it's as easy as that. So can you? Yes. Should you? Well, it depends on your business. Well, do you have other things that you can go and do? So for instance, if you've got a full-time window cleaning business and you need to get around all of your customers, well, then you just kind of have to grin and get on with it. But if you have some internal work, or you could do some pressure washing or gutter cleaning or anything like that, you've got any add-on services that you could do, while it's raining, then by all means, these are maybe things to think about with add-on services. But if you're like me and basically all of your work is, well, for me it's all traditional, but for you it might be all water fed, doesn't really matter. But if you're doing all window cleaning all of the time, then that's something to bear in mind. That if you take a day off here and there because it's raining, you're going to get put behind, you're going to be playing catch up, and it's not much fun, especially when you've got customers saying, oh, you're a bit late, which I get occasionally if I'm a day late. Here we go, let's have a look. Victor says, rain doesn't bother me, it's the 100-degree weather that's tough. Yeah, sack that. Tom says, good evening, Peter. Hello, Tom. Tom is a very nice man, I believe down in England somewhere. I've not had the pleasure of meeting him yet, just spoke to him online. He's water-fed pole and traditional and loves his job. So hats off to you, my man. So yes, Tom and everybody else, feel free to comment and let me know, would you work in the rain, yes or no? Does it depend how heavy it is? Let me know, that'd be really good. But for me, I work through pretty much everything and anything, unless it's so heavy, there's rivers running down the street and, the water's bouncing off the sills and onto the glass. That's when I would be thinking, maybe I shouldn't do it, Got some more comments here. Very good point. If you have any extra work saved up for rainy days, then you can do those. Otherwise, if I'm behind schedule, try my best to stay out and carry on, says Ray. Indeed. So yeah, it depends on your business. Like I said, for me, everything's external that I've usually got to do, and everything's pretty much residential these days. I prefer residential work. So for me, I just have to crack on and get on with it. Now, I remember something that a good friend of mine who I used to work with, when I used to work with a big window cleaning company, he was actually my manager. He's gone back to being self-employed now. But anytime you ask him, are you working today because it's raining, he'll say, of course I am. My skin's waterproof, so let's get going. So if he's watching, Mark, that's a pretty good saying, to hang on to. My skin's waterproof. If you've just joined, welcome. We're talking about working in the rain. Please leave your comments in the box. Let me know what you think about working in the rain. It's always a bit of a tricky one, especially that moment when you're working away and you'll know yourself, it's a bit awkward. The customer comes out and says to you, oh, well, they try and make a joke out of it. And they say, well, I don't know, if you should really be working today. It's not really a day for window cleaning. And you've got about 10 seconds to decide what you're going to come back with. Are you going to come back with, well, working in the rain is perfectly fine, what are you talking about? Or are you going to make a bit of a joke about it and say, yeah, bills need paid, So it depends how you want to handle it. For me, I normally try and make a bit of a joke out of it. So that's just my nature. If somebody comes at me with it's basically a bit of a dig. The customer's having a dig saying you shouldn't really be cleaning my windows. I'll have a bit of a laugh and a joke with them first. And then if I still feel that they're a little bit upset about it and they're being pretty serious, then I'll say to them, well, I do offer a rain guarantee, so don't worry. If there was anything wrong, I would happily come back and sort whatever window it is that needed sorted. But to be honest, it's very rare I get that. Most of my customers are pretty well trained and they know that I'm going to come out regardless. I did actually have one guy at the bottom of my street who complained, I think it was 2 to 3 times, when even the clouds were coming over, it looked like it was going to rain, and he would complain. So I eventually I dropped that customer because when I want to turn up, I want to get on with my job. I don't want to be hassled. And if somebody's coming out 2-3 times, within, a couple of months, then it's, maybe we're not the service for you, and just put it in a polite kind of way, but say, see ya. So we've got 22 people watching. That's lovely. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. We're talking about working in the rain. We've only got 2 thumbs up though, so remember to hit the thumbs up button. That'd be much appreciated, guys. And ladies, anybody's watching. Super. So fire away in the comments, folks, experiences that you guys have had to do with working in the rain. I want to hear your stories. I want to hear whether you've had good experiences or bad. Does it help you? But the other thing I want to talk about as well, while you're thinking about that and posting your comments, is collecting rainwater. Now, you'll maybe know of a chap, I'm maybe just going to leave the majority of this story for him to tell, but Poles and Blades, really nice chap, traditional window cleaner. He's making a video at the moment all about collecting rainwater, and hopefully he'll release it if I can kind of twist his arm a little bit. But yes, he's converted his house to be able to collect rainwater and use it for water-fed pole window cleaning. But I won't tell you much more because I'd like to leave it to him to explain in his video what he's done and how he's gone about doing it. But by collecting rainwater, he sent me a little picture not so long ago, and it was of the parts per million of rainwater. And believe it or not, it was two parts per million. That's all it was. You could actually collect this rainwater that he had and use it straight away. Most of you will know that anywhere near 10 ppm, that's the normal unwritten rule, that to change your resin, check your RO, things like that. But yep, 10 ppm seems to be the threshold that we don't go past. But rainwater, 2 ppm, can you believe that? So collecting rainwater, do you do that? Now that's something that's quite interesting. For me, doing traditional is not really something I really need to think about. I have actually had people ask me before, do I use rainwater to clean windows? It's not really a necessity for traditional because you're removing that solution. Whereas obviously with water-fed pole, it has to be crystal clear and purified so that it dries clear. So that's when it's more of an issue. So let me know, guys. Let's have a look at some of these comments and see if there's any, that I've missed. I'm actually trying to get the chat to stay up on my screen. Forgive me, I'm a bit of a technophobe, but here we go. Super chat, that's not what I want. I want the comments to stay on the screen. Top chat, there we go. Welcome to live chat, yes, blah, blah, blah. There's heaps of chats that I've missed. Where have these all gone? YouTube, you're letting me down. Peter says, surely water-fed pole is fine in the rain, Tradman. Yep, absolutely, spot on. Cleaned a mega mansion today, there for 7 hours, still got another 2 days to go. Boom, says Chris. Gold Window Cleaning Services, hello you two, how you doing? You all right? We don't pay our electric bill in the rain. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my bills stop when it's raining. So yeah, try that one. That was one my mate Mark always says as well, is, you know, my bills don't stop when it's raining, so I'm not stopping either. McSqueegee, yo, how you doing, McSqueegee? How are you? Pete, just jump them. For goodness sake. Just jump them, he says. Well, I'll let you do that, McSqueegee. You're probably a lot more intimidating than me. Luke Carter says, yo, yo. I'm not even going to pronounce the next one down. Or will I try? I'll go for it. Le levure de vitres window cleaning. I've probably completely and utterly naffed that up, but he says just, yeah, okay. Fair enough. Victor, I have a golf course that tells me not to come when it rains. Can be a little bit annoying for if you ask me. Yeah, definitely. LJ's, hey Lewis, how you doing, my man? How's things? Number one. Hi from sunny Brighton. Oh, rub it in, it's raining here. I don't want to hear about your sunshine. Gary says, cleaned a big house in the rain. Glass was the location, mate. It was minging. That's a Scottish word, minging. It just means it was basically disgusting kind of day. Let's have a look. It was still clean afterward. There you go. What's the deal, Pickle? I don't know. What's the deal? Pickle back at you. Tracy says, yo, always raining in Wales. Yeah, we've got some friends that are from Wales and they've moved up here. It was actually the lady that I was doing the charity thing for. She's from Wales and she says it never stops raining there. So hats off to any window cleaners that are from Wales in the UK. Don't know how you do it unless you're water-fed pole, then you're collecting all that rainwater, so lucky you. Dave, Spotless Window Cleaning says, the worst is heavy wind, where dust is flying around and rain is starting heavy in the same time. That's a bad situation. We have redone windows a week after a few storms caused window, they were really bad. Oh dear, oh that's not so good. Tracy says, hats on. Yeah, definitely. McSqueegee says, no, the house was minging. Oh, fair enough. Not the customer. The customer wasn't minging. Lewis says, I try and work in it. Depends how heavy it is and if it's windy and if we can be bothered. Yeah. Dave says, but not due to complaint, but just to keep the service on to level. This is it. You have to kind of weigh it up when you get there. If you're already ahead of schedule, you maybe can afford to take a day off or half a day off, then fair enough. But some companies can't afford to do that. So, you know, I've got a schedule to keep to. You might have things booked in for that day. You've got things booked in for the next day and the next day, the next week. So you don't want to be, you know, trying to play catch up and ringing customers saying that you're not coming. And it's also about reliability. A lot of the time you and I will advertise that we're a reliable window cleaning service. So to be reliable, you kind of need to turn up no matter what. They need to be able to say, well, you know, such and such isn't as dependable as my window cleaner. He always shows up, or she always shows up. But, you know, it's one of those things that some people don't work in the rain, and that's fine, entirely up to yourself. But for me, always work in it. Luke says, find a get around quicker in light rain. I'm trad and can mop up more windows at a time. That's true. And now I think the only real issue would be if you're traditional. Obviously, if you're not using a tool that zero details, you're going to have to use your cloth to detail the window, and your cloths are going to get wet pretty fast. So that's going to be a bit more of an issue. But to be honest, because I use the liquidator channels, I don't have to detail the glass. So for me, once I squeegee that window down, all I have to worry about is obviously frames and sills. So I'd highly recommend, if you're going to work in the rain and you're traditional, try a liquidator. You won't have to worry about using a cloth to wipe the edges of the glass. So there you are, top tip. Let's have a look here. Julian, hello Julian, how you doing? I live in Wales. Rain is a normal day here. Yes, it definitely is. I definitely like your rain guarantee. You're a genius. I didn't come up with that. This is, you know, one of my pals that I used to work with, who was my manager. That was one of his ideas, so I'm not going to claim that one. Dave says, I was thinking about gathering rainwater myself. Please post a video about it. Super idea. Well, Dave, I'm trying to get Poles and Blades to post the video that he made, because he lets me watch them, but not always. He doesn't always post them. He likes to get my feedback and see what I think before he posts them, which is pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. But I've told him, put it out there. I think you people will be really interested in what he's done to his house to collect rainwater. It's pretty interesting. Well, what's adorn window cleaning with rainwater at 2 ppm. Don't bother cleaning, just wait for rain and then send the bill. Yeah, well, that's the thing though, because rainwater, literally, if there's any dirt on the glass, it just moves the dirt around. And then when it dries, that's when you get the spots. You know, so when you squeegee off a window, it's just, this is so you can explain, if you're traditional, you're explaining that you're removing the dirt from the glass, so the pane is clean. So when it rains, the rainwater is also clean, so that in theory, and in fact, the window dries completely clean and clear. So same with your water-fed pole. After you've rinsed it down, rainwater is just as clean as probably the water that you're using to clean the windows. So it's all good. So get out there. There's no excuse. Get out there in the rain. I'm fed up hearing people saying, it was raining today, so I didn't go out and work. Get out and work, you. Tell you. What's Simon saying? Hi, mate. How's it going? I'm off to work. Oh, I'm off work due to sciatica. I've got the wrong teeth in. There we go. Have you ever had it, and how do you get around it? I'm on so much morphine. Please read it out. It's a good point, my man. I had something a wee bit different. Mine was a spine injury. So it was lower spine. I damaged the last 2 sections of my spine, and it took over a year to get back to work. So, you know, I think everybody watching this could identify at some point with having injuries, or it could be wrists, shoulder, back, neck, legs, could be anything. Most of us are dealing with something, and even working in bad weather like the rain can actually make it worse. So it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. It's something I do like to talk with you about, is, you know, trying to deal with these things. But personally, I had to take it step by step. And when I did come back to work, I just did low stuff. I didn't do anything high. I just did low traditional work, built it up, and then went and did a little bit of water-fed pole, and then eventually I could use ladders again. Got 27 people watching. Thank you ever so much. That's lovely. If you could give us a thumbs up, that'd be even better. We've got some messages coming in here. All right, Tracy says, what waterproofs do you use? Very good question. The waterproofs that I use, I got from a builder's merchant. So if you go into most builder's merchants, they usually do pretty heavy duty clothing. My waterproofs are pretty chunky, they're pretty thick stuff. So I don't know if you can see on the camera, maybe bring it up. This is called Dickies trousers. So these have all the pockets and knee pads and stuff. So they're pretty good quality trousers. And in light rain, I find I don't need to wear the waterproofs. These dry out pretty quick. But if it's really heavy rain, then I put on the really chunky waterproofs. But generally speaking, you know, I've always found that the cheap stuff doesn't seem to work very well, and the little bit more expensive stuff seems to repel the water a bit better. But yeah, if you go into a builder's merchant, their stuff's normally pretty good quality. I'll see what I could do is when this video is finished, I'll see if I can find the link to the trousers and I'll put them in the description for you. That's what I'll do. W&W window cleaning, yo, he says. Victor says, I need to get my butt to Scotland for a trad pole lesson. I truly suck at trad pole. What a shame. Don't beat yourself up, man. I'm sure you're good. It's just, I tell you what, trad pole stuff is difficult. Okay, I know, like in videos, you've got the likes of me and Poles and Blades and a few others that will do, you know, what Poles and Blades describes as tricky tradding, you know, and I know we kind of make it look easy, but it's not easy, and it's taken a lot of time and effort to be able to do it. I can honestly tell you, when I first started doing sort of difficult, high, traditional pole work, I was terrible. I was terrible, and I was pulling my hair out, and I was ready to literally throw the liquidator in the bin, burn it, and set fire to it, and be done with it. So, but I just persevered with it. I just kept on at it, keep practicing, and over the weeks and the months you think, okay, if I turn that way a bit more, then I don't get a turn mark. If I keep my solution this way, it's fine. Just, you learn little tricks as you go, as you do when you're learning traditional in the hand or water-fed pole. You learn tricks of the trade as you go. So by all means, you know, watch videos, but the best way to learn really is get out there and give it a go and don't give up. Keep trying, keep practicing. That's the best way to do it really, my friend. But you will get better, trust me, you will. And I'm here to help if you need. So I'm on the Tradman Facebook page. Send me a video or two and I'll, you know, see if I can help you out, no problem. I've got some more. It's raining now, going home. Now I'm turning around. Yeah, you get back out there and work. Get back out there. You're not allowed to go home. Get the money in. McSqueegee says, I struggle with old age. McSqueegee, you're not old. You're like, what, 30 or something? Luke Carter says, with my 6-inch Tradman time saver, I'll fly around all windows, rain or shine. Yes, I'm glad you're enjoying the 6-inch. It's a very good little squeegee, that. I really wish Moerman would make one, so I didn't have to use a hacksaw on my pre-existing handles. Squeegee, Oh, Julian, here we go. Rainwater here is 000. There you are. From the man himself, Julian says, rainwater is extremely clean. I've got a simple setup for harvesting rainwater. You can buy a kit that fits into the downpipe and diverts the water into water butts. It's free, pure water. Well, there you go. So, you know, that's a really good idea. To be honest, if I was water-fed pole, I would convert my garage roof to collect rainwater, and I'd probably convert my home roof to collect it as well. So it might be something for you folks to look into if you're water-fed pole a lot. Look into collecting rainwater. It's very clean, so go for that. Ray says, it's good time to clean conservatory roofs as rain also helps to soften the dirt. Exactly, it does. It really does help. Glass, light rain, heavy rain, not so much. Yeah, well, this is it. If it's light rain, you know, carry on. If it gets to the point where it's really heavy and bouncing off of sills and onto the glass, might have to think twice. Lewis says, anyone had AC joint separation? Not me. I'll pass on that one. Doesn't sound good. Tracy says, have you thought of doing an open day or full day training? You'd make a fortune. I don't know about that, like. And I'd be your first pupil. Well, there you go. Well, that's a funny thing. I honestly did think about this, and I was talking about it with Poles and Blades, thinking, you know, how can we maybe help to, you know, try and teach people how to do a bit more trad work. So, you know, rather than just running to the water-fed pole straight away, maybe give it a go with the trad pole. But each to their own. I'm not knocking one or the other, but sometimes that seems to be the common way of thinking. People will just automatically think, if it's slightly difficult, I'll get the water-fed pole out. But just think this way, if it does take you a little bit longer to do, then charge more. Simple as that. But yeah, trad pole work, it's not easy, so, you know, I'm not going to say it is. It does take a bit of a learning curve. WW window cleaning, raining time equals gutter, fascia, cladding cleaning for me. Well, this is it. If you had add-on services that you can go and do while it's raining, then, you know, definitely crack on with that. But like I say, for me and maybe some of you watching, maybe all of your stuff is all external window cleaning, and, you know, it's not really an option. You don't have any add-on services you can go and do. So basically for me, I just have to crack on and keep going. I don't have an option. Anyway, I've been talking for quite a while. That's 24 minutes, guys, so maybe I should stop yapping. See, that's the problem with Scottish people. Once you get us talking, we don't shut up. Do we, McSqueegee? We don't shut up, do we? Dom Evan says, rainwater isn't always pure. It's distilled, boiled, but not always pure. It picks up impurities from cars and then from your roof. Always a good idea to run it through the resin first. Well, this is it. You know, that's what I was meaning was sometimes it can pick up contaminants. It depends on the area. Like say, for instance, if I'm working in a little village and it's not near any fields or maybe a factory or something that's pumping out fumes, then I'd be quite happy with the rainwater there. If I was working at a house where, say for instance, there was dust coming in from a field or from an industrial kind of place, there's maybe pollution I thought might be in the air, that's when I would start thinking, maybe it's contaminated the rainwater. But yes, certainly with your roof as well, if you're collecting rainwater, it might be an idea to keep your roof clean if you're collecting rainwater. That way your DI or your RO, whatever you're using, won't have to work so hard. So bear that in mind. That's a really good point, Dom. Thank you for that. Fernando says, Trump put tariffs on rain. Victor says, I have 10,000 square foot home to do this Saturday and I'd cry if I didn't have my water-fed pole. Well, this is it. You know, some jobs you look at and you would think to yourself, well, this job just would be easier with the water-fed pole. Say, for instance, if you had something that was 2 stories or 3 stories high and it was lots of little square windows, I mean, you could try and quote it to do traditionally. It would be a lot of money. And if the customer goes for it, then, well, fair enough. But if you wanted to get around it as quickly as possible, you might need to think about water-fed pole. So judge it. It's your business at the end of the day. You judge it as you see fit, depending on, what kind of, deep clean do you want to do? Because obviously a water-fed pole can only maybe take off so much, especially if the house hasn't been done for years. It's maybe got paint spots or cement spots, hard water stains. It depends how much of that the customer wants removed from the glass. If they just want a general dirt clean, then yes, by all means, go for the water-fed pole, nip around it as quick as you can, boom, job done, off to the next one. If they want the hard water stain removal, cement, paint and all that taken off, you're gonna have to get up there on a pair of ladders. So judge it as you see it and as you quote it for the customer. McSqueegee says, you said it. Tom Evans, 3 thumbs up. John Boy says, checking in. You're a bit late, John Boy. You're a bit late. Gee whiz, you're on an Irish clock. Dave, my pal's kid is calling us waste bins when he sees us in waterproof gear. All right, yeah, I suppose, yeah. I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Yo-Yo says, off topic, Peter. Thoughts on the new Moerman handle? Just ordered ours. Woo! Oh, well, the new Moerman handle. What can I say? It's the best in the world. It's the best I've ever seen. Now, I'm not just saying that because I know there's people out there that think, oh, you always use Moerman. I don't actually. It's just the squeegees that I use and the applicators. That's my main thing. I do like the pouch actually. The pouch is pretty good. But there's other parts of Moerman's gear I don't like. But the squeegees certainly are awesome. Now, why do I say that? The new squeegee handle anyway has minus angles and positive angles. So hopefully in the future, we'll see how it goes. I'm maybe going to do a tutorial video on the best ways to use the Moerman accelerator handle, and so is poles and blades. You're going to be able to basically close out on any window. It's going to be fantastic. And if you use that in conjunction with the new angle arm that's coming from Moerman, it's called Dr. Angle, which has the same mechanism in it as an accelerator handle. Basically, it's got a longer arm on it, and it can go forwards and backwards as well, same as the new Moerman accelerator handle. So it's basically going to be the most ultimate traditional tool you've ever seen. There's no other tool that can do what this tool can do. It's a lot more solid feel to it as well. I did think the previous accelerator handle had a little bit of play in it, in the angle adjustment on the head. It had a couple of millimeters of play there. You could feel a bit of a wiggle. A little bit of a wiggle, nice Scottish word there. But is that a Scottish word? Probably not, just my accent. Anyway, the new Moerman accelerator handle has basically zero movement, zero play. It feels a lot more solid, which I think were some of the complaints, especially from some of the over in the States users. They noticed that they didn't really like the slight movement in the previous handle. So that's all been addressed with the new one. It's all really solid. I actually dropped my new accelerator handle from about 20 odd feet up. I was on a ladder and I accidentally dropped it off of my ladder, silly me, and I went down, picked it up, and it was absolutely fine. So there you go, it's been drop tested by yours truly. So didn't mean to, sorry Moerman, but there you go. Mark says, Tradman, how bad does it have to rain before you go home? Yeah, I just banged myself off my desk. Dirty bandit. Anyway, I don't go home, usually. I don't go home. Normally, it has to be really, really bad. It has to be sort of the wind's making the rain go sideways, and yeah, it has to be pretty like a storm before I'll go home normally. Now, I'm not just saying that to be like, oh yeah, I don't go home at all. It's just, I like to crack on with my work. I don't like to fall behind. And I know the windows are normally 99% of the time, they're gonna turn out fine. So I just carry on with my work. So yeah, I would recommend you guys, if you do go home, well, if you want to, crack on, but I would say stay out there, get working, get the money in. So that would be my suggestion. McSqueegee, best thing to do with rainwater is to do a TDS on it. Well, there you go. Depends on your area. Seaside towns tend to pick up the Har in Scotland. Yes, so all that lovely sea salt. If you're living near the coast, that could be an issue as well. So this is what I mean, you're gonna have to judge it, depending on your area, whether it's gonna be a good idea for you to collect rainwater and use it. You might have to put it through a DI or an RO just to polish it off and make sure it's okay to use. Dom Evans says, I think you'll lose more customers to being unreliable if you're gonna try and avoid all the rain. We explain the water-fed pole works in the rain, and any problems, we will come back and people get used to it. Well, this is what I mean, you know, say for instance, you are a business owner, you're watching just now and you think, my customers would just come out and complain. They would just cancel, they would complain, and I won't get away with it. You might get 1 or 2 cancellations, but at the end of the day, you're not going to be losing money by taking time off of work. Personally, what I would do is what I did at the start, when I started really working in any weather conditions. I put a letter around to everybody explaining through my customer information form that it was okay to work in the rain, that there's a rain guarantee basically, and if there's any issues to give us a call back, but we didn't expect there to be any issues. So since then, I've only had 1 or 2 that will occasionally come out and sort of hint like, you know, you shouldn't really be working today. But they're just having a bit of a dig. You know, I've not actually lost any customers recently due to working in the rain. I've actually picked up more work than I can actually handle, to be honest. So get out there, get working in the rain and get that cash in. Number 1 says, seems like a bit of a palaver collecting rainwater. I pay £1 for 25 litres of pure water down here and I'm happy buying it for now. Well, that's fair enough. I know there's those spotless water stations as well. We don't really have them up here in northeast Scotland, but I know they're quite common down in England in certain cities where you can just go in, fill up your tank and away you go. A bit like a petrol station, but for pure water. So, yep, if that works for you. Thunderstorms are not a great idea. Why not? Maybe you could channel it into your battery in the van, and if you get hit by lightning, it's an instant charge. Just a thought. Or just wear, you know, rubber pants. Should be fine. What are you worried about? Ray says, thanks for the live show, Tradman, got to go. Yeah, I'll probably go myself. I've been talking long enough. When Tradman says really bad, we are talking hurricane conditions, then he'll go home. Maybe. Well, the only time maybe I'll stop working is if I bump into McSqueegee and we end up talking for 3 hours in Asda car park with a burger and a coffee. Don't we? That's true. Tracy says, thank you, Tradman. You've taught me so much. Well, that's good. Really appreciate your time and your blogs. Really informative. No, well, I appreciate you guys even just tuning in and listening to my yibber yabber. So thanks very much. It's awesome. I don't want to miss any of your comments. I'm trying to get to the end so then I can kind of log off, but you keep asking questions. Did you start out with a normal car and did you invest in a water-fed machine? He says. Yeah, I did start out with a car. I started out with an old Fiat Punto that kept breaking down all the time. So, and I worked up kind of from there. And it was a car right up until 2 years ago. And I got my first van, which is the van I've got now. It's 13 years old, my van, and in brilliant condition. So I could get a new van, but I really like my old van, so I don't really want to get rid of it. Peter says, I started Trad Windows 6 months ago. Just looking into getting water-fed pole. Another local cleaner said you can use it in rain, it'd be great, being in the north of Britain. Yep, so, but then again, like, you can still do trad in the rain, but like I say, it might be a good idea just to even, even if you're not a big fan of the liquidator, maybe just keep it for rainy days. That way then, you don't have to detail those windows and get all your cloths wet. So, that's how I get away with working in the rain. I don't have to detail the window. So, all I have to worry about is wiping the frames. Victor says, just wanted to say thanks for all you've done for our little community and for always answering my questions on Instagram. You're more than welcome. I'm honestly really happy to help anybody. That's really cool. Thanks, bro. All the best, says Dom. And Dave says, I love trad. Water-fed pole is massively more productive. If you calculate working time of your crew, they would do much less trad only. We love quiet morning trad jobs. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that you would have to really factor that into your pricing. If you were mainstream, if you were focusing on just trad, you would take that into account when you're pricing your jobs. So, you would charge more per hour perhaps for doing traditional because it takes longer. So that's the way I kind of think of it, is if it takes you longer, you're getting paid for your time. So it doesn't matter to me if I'm using traditional or if I was using water-fed pole. I charge by the hour, so it doesn't really matter for me. I make the same amount. Okay, so thanks so much for tuning in, folks. Enough of my yibber yabber. And honestly, it's been really, really much appreciated for every single person that's tuned in. And if you have missed the live chat, feel free to fire some comments in the box below. Let me know about your experiences working in the rain, different awesome customer interrogations you've had as to why you're cleaning their windows in the rain. It'd be lovely to hear. And I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thanks very much. Take care, be good, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.